boys ain't feeling me. But them boys ain't feeling me. Many boys ain't real as me. I got me and guillotine. Make they heads roll. You better say next. You know, get a dead stone. Got them all in the dead zone. Till the rapper stop being like a convertible. If you wanna go to war, I'm the criminal. I break down any beat and get surgical. That's murder you before I murder you. Like KP, I go all day. I don't have any off days. All of these rappers love day. I'm saucing, they all saute. People think they really got it, they ain't got it. Nope. Got the combination locked, they all auto. Can't nobody mess my audio. I just go. I run the game, and y'all can't low. Everybody acting like they on, so I had a everybody acting like they up, so I had a drop. Man, we done came up. How can you blame us? I look at y'all, then I look at the same, y'all just saying us. Everybody acting like they on, so I had an off one. Everybody acting like they up, so I had to drop one. And we done came up. How can you blame us? I look at y'all, and I think it's such a shame, y'all just saying us. I put work in, I ain't tuck my jersey like I'm Kyrie Irving. Started serving y'all up, you get bought up. I know why you're nervous. Peace. I'm numero, you ain't know. Watch for me, I keep them on their tiptoes just like Julio. Tell them when I die, bury me inside the studio. Tell them when I die, bury me inside the booth. I pop rappers like a field, my shot factor like an eel. If you drop me, that's a steal. If you pass me, that's the real. Please don't ask me why I kill. My intentions stay concealed. Look inside my mind, you'll find my murder weapons been revealed. Everybody acting like they on, so I had to off one. Everybody acting like they up, so I had to drop one. Then we done came up. How can you blame us? I look at y'all, and I think it's such a shame, y'all just saying us. Everybody acting like they on, so I had to off one. Everybody acting like they up, so I had to drop one. Then we done came up. How can you blame us? I look at y'all, and I think it's such a shame, y'all just saying us.
And welcome to another edition of Life is People. Well, dude, that was came up by this afternoon's guest, D.Knight. So before we go any further, how you doing, my brother?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, cool, man. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good.
So, well, before we go any further, tell me the kind of inspiration behind that track, and obviously since we last spoke, when we last spoke, you were on the cusp of releasing Product of Determination. So, sort of tell me kind of what inspired that, came up track, my friend.
In the studio, just vibing out. My friend D.Money, he produced the track. So shout out to him, and he cooked up the beat. And I mean, I was just feeling it, and that's what we came up with, and we named it Came Up. But so yeah, it was just
So, I mean, from what you're trying to get across with that, man, what is the well, I mean, let's take this step back, my friend. Since we last spoke on, you were doing a Product of Determination. Obviously, a lot's gone on, man. I mean, you've been involved in the Hip Hop Awards, and you've had a lot of EP's been going out. You also had the whole Product Determination went out since we last spoke, and obviously people following you on Instagram and social media will understand that you're working on a new album which has been put back. So. Well, sort of take me through the step-by-step process, my friend. I mean, whereabouts are you right now in, say, e.g. relation to the album? I mean, whereabouts in the process are you on that?
Well, I just played last night a few times, and it's sounding pretty good so far. But there's I still feel there's a lot that I could do to improve it. One of the things that I'm having issues with right now is the sound quality. So once me and my engineer is able to get the sound quality right, we can, touch up on some things and, just keep going over whatever we feel like we can do better, how we need to execute. And once that's said and done, we'll put together a marketing plan and talk about when we're going to release the album.
Perfect. So, I mean, so in the in the stage you just mentioned there, when you send it, you where you're getting to the point of mixing the stuff like that. I mean, this is the question that I have to ask you. At what point? I mean, I relate this to like when I do an art, a piece of art. I can give you so many examples of when I've been spent maybe months creating a piece of artwork, and then I've kind of been balancing this. When's it going to be complete? When's it not going to be complete? And I end up so many times I've done it in my life where I've just done that one stroke too many, and it's like, oh, it's all gone, and the whole thing's all collapsed. So the kind of discipline I'm kind of asking you to maybe kind of give me a reflection on is that insight of when do you, at what point do you decide in your mind like that's it done, and how? I mean, it's because that must be a very difficult decision. So do you go and confer with your, like I say, with friends and colleagues and people you trust, or do you just leave it solely down to your own judgment?
I definitely talk to other people about it and see what they have to say. I actually sent it out to a few people yesterday just to get some insight on it. But honestly, I have to go off of my instinct. Because like you can tell when something is complete because you're going to feel it. It's like once you hear that, it's like, yeah, that's the one, that's it. We better than that type deal. So yeah, it really depends on the situation because sometimes you'll have people like, hype up around you and say like, yeah, man, this is it, like this is the one. But then you're like, I don't know. So you just have to use real good judgment. So that's really what it's about. It's about judgment and timing.
Again, which are these are invaluable lessons you learn on the way, isn't it? And then that's the that's half the battle, my friend, is knowing when to do that. I mean, I kind of want I really wanted to sort of touch upon you with this, and obviously, again, I mentioned since we last spoke, you put out product determination, but again, but just before we went live, you mentioned, dude, a lot has changed in the last since we last spoke, and I mean, I wondered really with the sort of just the general sea change of where you are right now in America, the actual just feeling, how you are, the events on the ground. Do you think that, since I last spoke to you, that your whole, maybe outlook on things has changed, or how you kind of, do you think it's kind of like, okay, I've got to step up my game now because of where we are, or do you think it's, I mean, how do you feel that it's in around you? Because again, I relate this to because we hear a lot in the, over here, particularly in the general mainstream media. It's all like you're on the brink of civil war. So I'm asking them. I mean, I reach out to you now and say, "Hey, dude, is it that bad?" And if it is, this is where people like us have got to step in to hopefully put some dialogue in this, looming confrontation.
Yeah, it's pretty bad out here. I'm not gonna lie. America's going through a lot right now, especially with the hurricanes and the earthquakes and our presidential situations. So I feel like one of my responsibilities as an artist is to speak up. Is to speak up on these things. I feel like that's part of my social responsibility. So I definitely look forward to having more social commentary in my music within the next couple of releases for sure.
Okay, well, on that question, my friend, and this has been I've always sort of felt about a bit of an age-old one that people, when you're in this point, because again, dude, I mean, this is only the same kind of path that many, artists from, NWA to Paris to even Wu-Tang Clan and old school kind of people, they all faced this back in the day, and the approach is, again, and this is where I'm kind of relating to you as when you're in this process of now of creating. It's that how do you, again, which I suppose is kind of relates to the last question. How do you do that? How do you weave that consciousness and that thought process you're trying to extrapolate to the world right now? Like, you've got to step up your game. How do you do that? Is that something you think? Okay, do I just hit them straight in that? The old analogy. Do you just go straight to them and go, look, there you go. There's the medicine straight, or do you dilute it in and put it into a cup of sugar and just put a little drop in? I mean, what's your sort of strategy on that?
I definitely try to put medicine in the candy. Feel me? Like I'm all for making fun music. You know, I've been doing a lot of trap songs lately, or trap style production because I haven't done that a lot. But also, always want to say something at the same time. I don't want to just be out here making music about whatever. I want people to be able to pull something from it as well, even if it's not a lot. Like as long as you guys get something. So that's what I'm currently working on, along with my next project.
Well, okay, man. So in this void that we speak upon, man, and I'm fascinated to know what I don't know what your if I could speak to you maybe in 2 years' time, we come back to this conversation. And I mean, what would be your best outcome from all this? Because I mentioned this again, it relates to us as creative people. And say I've been contemplating for quite a while now, thinking maybe half the reason, and I'm old enough and battered enough, dude, to sort of see this second time round. And I'm thinking the reason maybe where we got to this point, where we're even discussing half the crap that we're talking about in this world right now, is because the people who have had the narrative, the creative people, we've all been lazy for the last 20 years. We've discussed this in previous podcasts, how everything's become bling, bling, showy, showy. No one's actually telling anything true. So again, with this strategy, my friend, if I could come to you in 2 years' time and I, and I said to you, okay, what have you done in that process? But what would you mentioned about trying to put the sugar in the candy and stuff like that. What do you think that us creative generally can sort of step up? I'm saying because you're talking about you're putting the stuff out there. What would be your hope for this? I mean, is your hope for this that we can bridge some sort of gap, or do you? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, or do you think it's just a case now of just putting out a situation, because you're alluding to the fact of America is now. Do you think it's just a case of just trying to put out as much bridges and trying to hold it together? I mean, again, I'm fascinated to know where you are because I'll be real, dude. You're in your 20s, man, and this is a crucial point of where we are in the history of mankind and us as a species. And I think a lot of weight comes on your shoulder, man. I know what it's like in my 20s, and I wonder how someone like you, who's quite erudite and thinks through deeply and is a well considered person. I wonder how you're contemplating your strategy with this going forward, because obviously if it all goes wrong, you might not be, none of us might not be here in 5 or 10 years time. So I'm trying to work out what your strategy on this, what your thought process.
Well, the outcome I want to see, I just want people to be able to relate to the music more. Either relate to it or just be able to feel it. That's like my main artistic goal right now, is just to have people be able to relate to it. So, but other than that, I can't really tell you what the outcome and what the results want to be, because it always turns out different from what I expect. So I can't really predict that.
No, man. It's what I was more trying to allude to, man, and it's one of the things that, again, with a lot of power being in the hands of us creative. I mean, it's one of the things that always frustrated me when you saw people have so much power, like the rap artists and stuff, and all they try to, again, I go back to some of those people. It was almost like division lines. They were trying to say, right, we're going to have this, we're going to separate into little collective groups, and it was kind of like, no, dude, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that we're all, kind of just shared experience kind of thing, and it's very dangerous, man. I mean, it's a kind of, I'm saying it's something that many creative people don't understand, that they can put, and I know you're a very considered person, that it's very easy to put lyrics out there in a moment of anger, like it is a tweet, and then realize that, that might have a lot of damage, that might do a lot of harm to people. And I know that's something you don't strive towards. So, I mean, this is what I'm trying to get to the crux of the matter of how, if you can put, sow some seeds for a better word, for a want of word of, for wanting to put ideas out there, what kind of ideas would you want to go out? And that's what I'm saying. What would you want to happen? What kind of world would you want to be in 5 years time, man? Right. I mean, that's the whole point of what I've always felt the creative people we're doing. We're trying to paint some paradigms and trying to paint some visions for people to sort of, kind of what we see and how we want it. So I'm interested to know to what your thought process is, what you would want it to be in 5, 10 years time. What you as a creative person, particularly where you are right now on the edge of breaking through and your second album and building things. I mean, what it is you feel you want to sort of express to the world and get across.
Well, where I want to be in 5 years, I definitely want to be closer to my dreams if I'm not able to, directly achieve them in 5 years. So, Yeah, I mean, I just look for improvement, every year, every day, every month. I can't, like I said before, it's hard to predict the future. So I just been taking it day by day and just trying to work hard to better myself every day. And within 5 years, we'll see what happens.
Exactly. I mean, I think the sort of, in essence, what we, the point I'm trying to make is you're putting out love compared to those who are putting out hate, man, and that's all we can hope for. Like you say, we never know. That's a great question. That's my friend, is a sign of very much a wise head on young shoulders there, my friend. Because to say I don't know, we don't know where things are going to go in the future is a very wise element in your head. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, my friend, and again, I've partaken here from my side of the world. The hip hop awards, the Ohio hip hop awards. So, kind of for people who haven't, aren't aware of it, maybe outside of Ohio, maybe give people a brief overview and kind of tell me your involvement and how how maybe people can help and, sort of do anything they can to raise awareness in that project and that kind of field.
Well, first, I'm going to explain what the Ohio Hip Hop Awards is for people who don't know. The Ohio Hip Hop Awards is a platform here in Ohio for artists to, get recognized for their music, their artistry, and the moves that they make every year. And it's not just for only artists. It's also for models, DJs get love, media outlets. Like they do a real the people there. I know the people who run the Ohio Hip Hop Awards. They really work hard to give everybody a fair opportunity. Everybody has a chance to get themselves nominated depending on their following and who they are and the type of noise they've made. So last year was my first time participating in it. I did the Ohio Hip Hop Awards showcase out here in Dayton, and I finished as one of the top performers. So as a result, I was able to perform at a nightclub out in Cleveland. But I also was able to perform at the actual award show because I was involved in a tribute for my engineer. His name's Mo Beats. He passed away last May from cancer. So it was definitely an honor to share the stage with people up there and be able to honor him and his family. And yeah, it's a very great opportunity out here for Ohio artists. I don't understand why more people don't take advantage of it because it's really like all we got. Like we don't really have a huge scene here. But so yeah, with that being said, shout out to the Ohio Hip Hop Awards, Derek McKenzie, Dawn from Raise the Bar. Like they're all great people.
So again, I mean, that's a perfect overview of the actual event and everything and the whole what it stands for. I mean, what can people? Again, I mean, I say this because I reached out and I try to put my sort of give my as much support and love out towards you as possible, dude. So for anyone out listening, or maybe how can they? Is it again what the date process is? I mean, and how can people get involved? I mean, I'll put links up, but and again, I mean. Again, for people who are outside, and I think I have to bear this in mind. There's a lot of people maybe listening to this in Europe and stuff like that, and they kind of comprehend how big Ohio is. And I mean, you can fit the whole of the UK into Ohio, so it's a really sort of big place. So, give me an overview. I know you've done this before, but over since right now, what would you say the overview is? I mean, you mentioned about the hip hop awards and etc. But what do you think the general uptake of everything is at the moment? I mean, is it healthy? Do you think the situation is healthy and the scene's quite healthy at the moment? I mean, because I know it's a sort of a common reflection about it seems to be everywhere I talk to and everyone I speak to that trying to make money and being a musician and a hip hop artist or anything creative these days is completely it's almost like a whole second job trying to work out how to bring in some funds to keep yourself going. So on the general one, I mean, that's what I like about the hip hop one. It seems to be a self kind of grassroots up trying to help each other from that scene. So in that scene generally, how do you think it's is it quite healthy at the moment? And again, what are the are the solutions coming out of this and how to sort of support each other and find each other? Because I know it's something that is difficult to many people across the world to how to sort of fund that operation of what you're trying to do, rather than it just being a hobby and trying to make it into a professional thing. So does the hip hop, the awards and that, does that really help in any other way just than just the status and being known amongst the peers?
Definitely helps because the Ohio hip hop scene is still we're still building. Like Ohio, we don't really have that many artists popping right now. Like we have the legends like Bone Thugs and Harmony, and and Kid Cudi. I consider Kid Cudi a legend in my book. But right now we have guys like Machine Gun Kelly. He's like the main one holding the torch right now. He's like running with it. He's been running with it like since like 2010. But I say the hottest cities in Ohio for hip hop is Cleveland and Columbus. But where I'm at, it's really not a nice scene. There's not too many places to perform. It's just not really popping. And I feel like one of the things we have to do to get it popping is, the artists here, we have to come together and we have to unify ourselves because the artists are the ones who create the scene. So if the artists ain't working, I mean, people aren't going to support. You have to give people something to support first. So we have to, basically campaign ourselves and, come together so we can generate a nice hip hop scene. And then maybe people will come out to shows. People will listen to our music. People will follow us on social media. But we have this crab in a bucket mentality where everyone's trying to pull the other person down. They call themselves putting the city on. But how are you putting the city on if you dragging down other artists? And it's just that's not how you build. You can't build by trying to destroy somebody else and what they got going on. So yeah, that's one of the flaws here for sure. But if we can get over that, then we can develop a nice scene here. But right now, it's just not happening. So it's kind of hard for everybody.
I that crabs in the bucket mentality, my friend, is something that I think many creative projects, whether it's like I say, art, music, and I think it's very common amongst many scenes. And I think the my insight to that, the only insight that I can really give is generally is if you do get people like yourselves, and you start to, for want of a better word, go out and start to slay positive, you find that other like minds start to gather around you, and before you know it, and I can always bear this to mind before. Hip hop was born on the streets of back end of New York, and it conquered the world. And this is what people need to, forget. And especially right now, my friend, with the tools that we've got in our hands. And this is I think for the first time, and I think it's something you're alluding to. I think what we're going to see, this almost duality of local people, like you say, people one-to-one, brother, the old school brotherhood, standing up for each other, people one-to-one, you can look at and you can say your brother, but equally forming virtual communities and taking this worldwide, man. And this is going to be the great I think experiment over the next 5 or 6 years to see how this, with the tools that we've got available and the tools that are literally coming moment by moment, and how the creative people and people like yourselves pick up and use those tools just much in the same way as original hip hop artists did back in the day with things like CDs, and they were the first on board of jumping on board MySpace. And it's always been those cutting edge people that basically they take the dive into the dark, deep, murky waters, the ones that if they can survive that, like you say, that rough and tumble crabs in the bucket thing, if you can get through that moment, after that there can be a whole great renaissance. And I think we're on the very tipping point, or on the verge of that renaissance right now. Right.
Yeah, that's one way to go though. Like Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's gonna be a slow build. But we can definitely get there. But we have to want it for ourselves before anybody else does.
Exactly. And I think, I'll even take one more step beyond that, my friend. And I think it's, that crabs in the mentality bucket, and I think the way to get around that, and this is something that we speak about. And true creativity is the understanding that of the mindset of going, hey, we can all be inspired by each other. Do you know what I mean? Instead of that whole being pulled down by each other, being inspired by each other. And instead of seeing everything as like, oh, because someone can't do, we're going to pull them down. It's a benchmark. And that, in some ways, my friend, it's it's either some people have that mentality or they don't, and I think you just alluded to it. It starts from within and starts from that self projection, and that's why we need, and the world needs more people like yourself standing up and saying, "Hey, damn right, man, I can do this by myself." For want of a better word, product of self-determination, product determination, man. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's giving you a silver spoon, my friend. You haven't had all the record companies banging down your door. You don't get, 2 million, pre-contract records. You've been doing this all yourself, and I think that's greatly inspiring.
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey, but I'm slowly, building as an artist every day, continuing to build up my following. So it's a slow grind, but like my brother says, slow grind is for show grind. So I know I'll get there one day. So it's fine. It's all good.
So returning to, where we kind of like began this conversation, obviously, like I said, you're in the verge of putting out the new album for a start. I mean, um, how many tracks do you have? I mean, just ask all the basic tracks. How many tracks do you have? Do you have a title? Is it going to be available on hard copy?
Title, and I've been thinking about whether I want to include it for hard copy. I know some people have said they wanted hard copies, but so I might just go ahead and do it, just for the people who want it. I haven't announced the title yet, but I mean, I guess this is, what better platform than, this conversation to announce it, right? So the title of my debut album is called Adolescence. And I've been working on it for, I say, about 3 years in terms of developing the content, songwriting, and the reason why it's taken so long is because these are things that I experienced throughout my teen years, like lessons that I learned as a teen. That's why it's called Adolescence, and it's 10 tracks long, and I pretty much covered, everything I went through from between the ages of 13 to 17, 18 years old. So so yeah, but before I drop Adolescence, I think I'm going to drop an EP, like a 4 or 5 song EP, just to get people warmed up and build some more anticipation. But yeah, I don't know the title of the EP, but the title of my album is called Adolescence.
Oh, that's man. That begs many questions. But I think you kind of you answered very eloquently. Now, for people watching, man, I can't believe I've spent it's taken me 35 minutes to sort of even mention this. Dude, I mean, obviously you're wearing some merch on your hand, man, because you've got obviously the no favors cap, dude. So is this a bit of a glimpse into what the next sort of step of the D-Knight revolution is going to be? We're going to enter into the merch.
Yeah, definitely. I do need to work on some merch. I need to, invest in that. So I'm going to talk to my team about that too. One of those things, because I know people said they wanted no favors caps, and of course, we're going to need, some gear that goes along with the theme of my upcoming projects and previous projects, because people still play those as well. So yeah, definitely, we're stepping into merchandise eventually.
Perfect, man. Well, I've said to you in private, and I don't know. I personally think this just generally. I think we're on the verge of things generally, and I think it's well, I said before, we're gonna, with what we're about to go live with, what we're about to do, and we're gonna push you and do everything we can, and I do think these are, as I said before, the greatest days to live in, because, and there's something else I wanted to allude to you before, because I think we're the times when we can open as many resources to fund people like you as possible, and I think that's like never before, especially with the current sort of crackdown that's going on, YouTube, and people being pulled down from Twitter and etc. 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 I think we're just about to at that tipping point when, and again, and I said before, man, people like yourself are a vanguard of this, and I said this before, you're inspiring many people, many of which I know you're never going to meet, man. So I have to ask this, and I feel like I've asked this in every conversation, and hopefully by the time, I mean, is there any plans at the moment? I know it's very early stages, but if things go sort of well for you next year, is there any sort of even just the thought process of taking this across to Europe, so some of us, you know, over here can get to see you and experience your show in live?
Ooh, my fault. But oh yeah, definitely. I've always wanted to do shows out of country. We just have to. I just have to build here first. I have to make sure I'm good here before I fly out. But who's to say that I won't have a bigger following out there where you're at than here in America? You know. But yeah, one of these days I am going to fly out to Europe and perform, and I will make sure that you get some tickets as well. Definitely.
Well, I think mainly on that, my friend. I think this is sort of kind of where we can leave this, but I think we're on the edge of a very exciting technological parapet, and I think what we're about to see unleashed in the next sort of years. I think maybe going to get to the point in very very soon where people won't have to go, you have to fly across to this part of the land. I think people are going to virtual worlds and will be able to literally walk around the whole show while you're playing live, walk around you 360. I think that's very very close, my friend, and this is why I always put these calls out to people, man. The keep an eye on these things, man, because this is going to be the whole new paradigm. Just as much as we look at our parents and go, "Oh, what, you listen to vinyl? What was all that about?" And you listen to 8 tracks, and seems really old-fashioned, dude. You know what I mean? In 5-10 years' time, virtual worlds are going to be. I personally think they're going to be completely taken over, and there's some exciting things going on right now with virtual. I was going to say, I was going to briefly ask. I mean, have you explored or even tried like Second Life and playing, virtually live? Because I know quite a few people are starting to enter into that world and going on to virtual worlds and playing, getting tipped for what they're playing, and playing shows just in their own time and do it through camps. I mean, is that something you've even explored or even thought about exploring?
I have thought about that, but I guess I never really went into it because I always felt like that it would work better for like bands because they have like instruments and stuff to like I don't know. I never really explored the possibility of doing that, but I'm gonna have to look into that because I know one thing me and my producer, one thing we do is that when we make a new song, we'll like go on Facebook Live and perform it in front of people and see what they think about it. Like, and it'll be songs that we never put out before. But yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. But it would be nice if I had like a band, performing with me because I mean, people love bands, and it would be kind of weird with just me just rapping live and not having anything in the background or nothing. So yeah, I'll look into that for sure because that's actually a good idea.
I completely concur with you, man. So on the banner front, my friend. I mean, I've said this many times. Like, how you get up in front of the stage and play in front of people is it's beyond comprehension for me, man. I don't know how you do that but equally, and I depending on what your thoughts on it, even just going in raw, dude. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, if as much as I think if you went into virtual life and just stood up and put, just literally spat some beats, for better of a word, spat some lyrics, man, I think people will do it. All I'm saying, it's a whole brave new world out there, and I think just exploring it and finding these things, because I said before, it's always been something that particularly hip hop has always been, I think, been renowned from around the world, being on the edge, and I'm fascinated to now know that some of these new sort of worlds coming. Again, I think it's the moment where people like you at your age step up and go, well, hey, this is a new world, and let's jump into this world, because it may not turn into anything at all, but hey, I mean, I remember, like I said before, when hip hop kind of played around with things before, and it was like, oh, that changed everything, and I changed fundamentally everything. So all I know is, man, I think it would be a better world and virtual world for you than not having you there. So that's all I'm going to say in that, in short. Well, dude, before we do wrap this up, I've wanted to. We're obviously going to play out with the track you sent me across. I am the man. I am the man. Well, tell me about the. I am the man, and obviously. We've sort of spoken about it briefly tonight, but the EP and stuff like that. So just give people some you know, where they can follow you, where they can reach out to you, where they can, you know, sort of keep on, you know, up to date with what's going on. And again, while I'm queuing this up, tell me a bit more about I Am the Man, and you know, sort of inspiration behind that, and what happened to it. And again, as always, my man, it's been great talking to you. It's really insightful conversation. Like I said, we're very close to launching, and like I said, we're gonna that when, because I know you've been, again, I want to put this shout out. Did you know, from my point of view, you've been a great inspiration and a great supporter, man, and it's been a long 3-year process, my friend, but I'll always remember personally the support you show me personally, publicly, everything for this, man. And we're like I said before, every good karma action always deserves another good karma action, and what you give out good will come back to you good, my friend. And that's exactly the essence you were talking about, where we all support each other and build each other. So I just wanted to put that out, because it's, as I said before, man, I have many, you know, one of the fascinating things about building a something on code is seeing the insight of the mind of a programmer. And they have this very strange 72-hour, you know, they work on a 72-hour long stretch, listen to, you know, one track or maybe 2 or 3 tracks on a loop. And I know you served as an inspiration for some of the coders and programmers being written. So that dude alone, if you hadn't have put those beats together, to write a bit of code, man. So that is, like I say, these are the small victories that nobody ever knows about, but serve as great inspiration. So as I said before, man, great to have you on. It's been as insightful as ever. So the door's always open. And like I said, before we finish up, man, I'm going to finish with I Am the Man. Tell me sort of like the thought process behind that, and again, where people can sort of reach out to you and touch you, man, and where they can find you.
I'm the Man is the intro track off of DJ D Money's album. Is called Authentic. It's an album that me, him, and our friend Jigsaw put together over the past few months, and we released it in May. And I have a few more songs on there as well. So if you guys wanna hear more of it, go to soundcloud.com/DKnightIsreal. That's DKNIGHTISREAL. And my website name is the same as my SoundCloud username. Is www.dknightisreal.com. I also have more music on there. Make sure you subscribe to my mailing list at the bottom of the website, so I can keep you guys updated on things, you know, like new music and albums and stuff like that, or, you know, even merchandise somewhere down the line. My Twitter name is at D.Knight937. My Instagram name is D.Knightisreal. And my Facebook URL is D.Knight937. So make sure you give me a like on Facebook.
Word around is that kid's next. Young boy from that Midwest. Growing up like syntax. Hands together, I've been blessed. Never even had a big flex. I've been getting my muscle up. Ain't nothing ever held us up. I wanna know who else but us. So you say you're gonna pull our car. Well, how come you ain't dealt with us? Wait up, came out straight up out that view. No, I'm putting on for my yard. Can't name no one else this far. Qualified enough to play this part. Calculated, gotta play this smart. Captivated, can't resist this charm. Been this hard, I can't lie, I'm not God. Y'all just slow to realize that. Acting as if y'all got time, it's okay to feel like that. P.O.D. I'm built like that. 100, I'm built like that. Grew wings and I flew over as I watch all says tilt right back. G.I.D. I get it done. D.Knight, he might be the one. Ain't no maybes, ifs or buts about it, cause I've been what's up. Stop acting, the jig is up. Show's over, the gig is up. Yeah, you made your role, but you ain't play it, so I picked it up. I know they gon' show me love in every area code. Take your city over, make that place feel like my second home. Ain't no doubt about it, it's all up soon as I hit the road. I'm the people's champion, I feel it's best that you should know. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere that I go. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere that I go. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere that I go. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere that I go. I know they gon' show me love in every area code. Take your city over, make that place feel like my second get home. Ain't no doubt about it, it's all up soon as I hit the road. I'm the people's champion, I feel it's best that you should know. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere that I go. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere that I go. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere that I go. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere that I go. Y'all don't wanna see me score again. Got the juice still pouring in. Hit 'em with a new look. Every time you would think I play for Oregon. I got too many good things going on to be worried about the next man. I ain't worried about the next hand. I'm focused on my deck, man. Don't you ever guess twice about me. Ain't a whole lot of life without me. Reaper man got the sights around me. Meet the end of your time around me. Me, I put a lot of hours in and put a lot inside of that. I'm gonna see a lot of hate, but trust I'm never minding that, cause I know they gon' show me love in every area code. Take your city over, make that place feel like my second home. Ain't no doubt about it, it's all up soon as I hit the road. I'm the people's champion, I feel it's best that you should know. Oh yeah, I'm the man everywhere